So you've probably been there, right? Trying to build muscle and burn fat at the very same time, but it just feels like you're spinning your wheels. Well, what if I told you that you have this incredibly powerful switch inside your body? A switch you can actually learn to control to achieve both of those goals, and, in the process, seriously optimize your health for the long run. In this explainer, we're going to show you exactly how to become the master of that switch.
Oh, okay, let's just get right to it. The holy grail of fitness. The big question: can you actually build new, lean muscle at the same time your body is in a fat-burning, cleanup mode? That process called autophagy, where your body is getting rid of all the old, junky cells. So, is it even possible to be in build mode and cleanup mode at the same time?
Well, the short, scientific answer is nope. Sorry, these two processes are basically polar opposites. But, and this is a big but, here's the smart answer, and it's the whole point of what we're talking about today: you don't have to. The real secret, the game changer, is learning how to strategically toggle between these two states all day long.
To really get a handle on this metabolic toggle, first you got to appreciate the constant tug of war that's happening inside your body 24/7. It's this epic battle between two opposing forces, and once you understand how they work, you hold the key to taking control of your metabolism. So on one side of the rope, we've got anabolism. That's your body's build-up state. Think of it like a construction crew on a job site, using energy and raw materials from your food to build new things, like muscle tissue. And on the other side of the rope, we have catabolism, the breakdown state. This is your body's demolition and recycling crew, breaking things down to either release energy or do that vital cellular cleanup. You are always in one of these states more than the other.
So, what's controlling this tug-of-war? Well, it all comes down to two master switches deep inside your cells. Let's meet the two main players in this game.
First up, on the build-up team, we have mTORC1. The easiest way to think about mTOR is as the general contractor for your body's construction sites. When you eat protein, especially a key amino acid called leucine, or when you do some resistance training, you flip the mTOR switch to on. That's the green light for the construction crew to get to work and start building muscle.
And on the breakdown team, we have AMPK. This is your body's master energy sensor. When energy gets scarce, like when you're fasting or exercising, AMPK gets turned on. Think of it as the master recycler. Its job is to save energy and fire up the cellular cleanup crew, autophagy. Now here's the most important part. When AMPK is on, it actively shuts mTOR off. The recycler basically tells the contractor, hey, take a break, we're cleaning up right now. So the amazing thing is, we get to control these switches. Here's a perfect example: the leucine trigger. You eat a protein-rich meal, that leucine signal hits your cells, mTOR fires up, and just like that, the build signal for making new muscle is officially switched on. Now let's look at the flip side, the fasting response. When you go into an energy deficit because you haven't eaten for a while, your cells sense this. And what happens? AMPK activates. This turns on the cleanup crew and, at the same time, shuts off the construction crew. This is exactly why you can't build and clean at the same time. Okay, so we know the switches exist. We know what they do. But how do we actually pull the levers and control them with any kind of precision? Well, this is where the strategy really comes into play. Now here is a fascinating and absolutely crucial concept. You can't just keep that mTOR build switch jammed in the on position all day by constantly grazing on protein. Your muscles are way smarter than that. After a protein meal triggers growth, your muscles go into what's called a muscle-full state. It's like their inbox is full. They basically become deaf to any more protein signals for a few hours. And this right here is why protein pulsing is so incredibly effective. Just look at this. If you eat 4 separate protein meals of, say, 30 to 40 grams each, you get to flip that muscle-building mTOR switch 4 separate times. But if you try to cram that same 120 grams into one giant steak dinner, you only flip the switch once. The rest of that extra protein, it just gets burned for energy, not used to build muscle. Pulsing is just way, way more efficient. But there is an override switch, a cheat code really, and it's the most powerful tool in our entire toolkit: resistance training. Lifting weights is like sending out an all-hands memo to your muscle cells, telling them to be on high alert for incoming shipments of protein. It makes them incredibly sensitive to protein for the next 48 to 72 hours. It's a complete game changer. All right, another really powerful lever you can pull is viscous fiber. When you eat foods like oats or beans or add psyllium husk to your diet, this stuff forms a thick gel in your gut.
And honestly, the best way to think about it is as a speed bump for your digestion.
And this chart shows you exactly what that speed bump does. It's a night and day difference. Without that fiber gel, a meal can cause this huge, sharp spike in blood sugar. But with the viscous fiber speed bump, that same meal turns into a slow, gentle, rolling hill. This is absolutely critical for managing your metabolic health.
That gel also does something else that is just brilliant for your cholesterol. So, your liver uses LDL, the bad cholesterol, to make digestive stuff called bile acids. Well, that fiber gel, it traps those bile acids and carries them right out of your body. So now, your liver is forced to pull more LDL cholesterol out of your bloodstream to make replacement bile. It's like a natural cholesterol-lowering system built right in.
Okay, so far we've talked a lot about how what you eat sends these powerful signals through your body. But how you move is just as important, because when you exercise, your muscles do a lot more than just get you from point A to point B. They talk. They send out these little messengers all over your body, and these messengers are called myokines.
Think of myokines as text messages sent from your muscles every time they contract. These little proteins travel all over your body and give instructions to your brain, your liver, your bones, even your fat cells. This is how exercise creates benefits across your entire body. Your muscles are basically their own pharmacy.
And we're not talking about just a few little messages here and there. To date, scientists have found over 650 different types of myokines. It's this huge, complex communication network that we're really just starting to fully appreciate.
Let's just pull a few superstars off this chart to see how powerful they are. You've got irisin, which helps turn your regular white fat into more metabolically active, calorie-burning brown fat. Then there's BDNF, which people call Miracle-Gro for the brain because it helps you grow new brain cells. And you've also got things like myostatin, which is like the emergency brake on muscle growth. Exercise helps keep all of these in perfect balance.
Okay, that is the science. Super fascinating stuff. But how do we put it all together into an actual, actionable daily blueprint? How do we use this knowledge of toggling between build mode and cleanup mode in the real world?
Okay, here's blueprint number 1, a 16-8 protocol where the main goal is fat loss. You fast for 16 hours straight, which really maximizes that AMPK-driven cleanup and fat-burning state. Then, inside your 8-hour eating window, you strategically drop in your protein pulses to turn on mTOR just enough to protect your muscle. This gives your body a really long runway to burn stored fat.
Now, here's a different approach, a 14-10 protocol. This one is more focused on overall metabolic health and really preserving muscle, which is so important as we get older. That slightly longer, 10-hour eating window makes it much easier to nail all 4 of your protein pulses spaced out every few hours. This ensures you're hitting that mTOR switch again and again to fight off age-related muscle loss.
Those are great templates to start with, but let's get even more practical, especially for all of you who like to exercise in the morning. Believe it or not, your entire day's metabolic priority can be set by one single decision you make when you wake up.
First, we have to accept one crucial truth. You can't maximize everything at once. It's just not how our bodies work. Fat burning, which is driven by AMPK, and muscle building, driven by mTOR, are opposite signals. The goal isn't to do both at the same time, it's to choose which one you want to emphasize on any given day.
So with that in mind, here are 2 proven approaches for anyone who works out in the morning, each based on a different primary goal. You have the 8 and 16 schedule, which prioritizes fat loss, and you have the 10 and 14 schedule, which prioritizes muscle preservation. But look closely, they're both built on that same solid foundation of 4 protein pulses. So let's look at burn mode first. You crush your workout at 6 a.m., but then, and this is key, you delay your first protein meal all the way until noon. What's the point of that? Well, you're extending that fat-burning, AMPK-dominant window for hours after your workout. You get all the benefits of the exercise, and then you give your body extra time to use fat for fuel before you flip the mTOR build switch. That's why we call it burn mode.
Now, let's compare that to the build and preserve mode. You still work out at 6 a.m., but in this strategy, you have your first protein pulse, like a fast-acting whey shake, right after, around 7 a.m. Why? Because you want to capitalize on that post-exercise window when your muscles are screaming for protein. You're sending that mTOR build signal right away to kickstart recovery and growth. Your priority here is muscle.
But here's what's so powerful about this whole system. Notice that in both plans, the evening routine is identical. It's your anchor habit. A solid, whole food meal around 6 p.m. to build, and then a slow-digesting casein protein or cottage cheese around 8 p.m. to protect your muscle while you sleep. We build muscle during the day, and we protect it at night. Simple as that.
So really, it all boils down to this. The entire metabolic focus of your day comes down to one simple decision you make in the morning. If fat loss is your #1 goal, you delay that first protein hit. If preserving muscle is your top priority, you take it right after your workout. You have this same evening routine. It's just a different morning decision.
And that really brings us to the final, most important takeaway. This is not about trying to find the one single, perfect plan that works for everybody all the time. It's about understanding the biology, choosing the priority that actually matches your goals right now, and then just being consistent. That's how you go from being a passenger to being the pilot of your own health. That's how you master the metabolic toggle.